I found an unusual item in the shape of a pumpkin that opens on a hinge. Inside, there's a latch that holds a small glass jar with a sharp pin attached. There's also a flat glass surface that opens to reveal a small compartment. Does anyone know what this could be used for? This object is likely a vinaigrette, a small container used in Victorian times to hold smelling salts or scented substances like perfume. These pieces were designed to be hung from a chatelaine chain, a type of decorative belt clip with chains attached, allowing women to carry essential items like keys, watches, and other small accessories. In the 18th and 19th centuries, vinaigrettes were popular because people believed in the medicinal benefits of aromatic substances, especially in crowded or unpleasant urban environments. The small compartment held a sponge soaked in vinegar or perfume, which users could open to inhale and counteract foul odors or even alleviate dizziness or nausea. The use of vinaigrettes declined by the early 20th century as perfumes became more accessible and urban sanitation improved, reducing the need for personal air fresheners. I noticed this unusual glass-encased machine in the Addams family, with Gomez and on Scrooge McDuck's desk. It appears to have gears and mechanisms inside and spits out long rolls of paper. What is this machine and what was it used for? It's a stock ticker, a device invented in the 19th century to provide real-time updates on stock market activity. Wealthy individuals and businesses would have a telegraph line run to their office or home, allowing them to receive updates directly from the stock market. The machine decoded signals from the stock exchange into three-letter stock codes and numerical prices, printing them onto thin paper tape. The use of stock tickers remained popular well into the 20th century, and the codes they printed are still in use today as ticker symbols. Modern financial displays, like scrolling LED boards, simulate the look of old stock tickers. Interestingly, the term ticker tape parade originates from this device. The machines used rolls of paper tape that would often accumulate in nearby wastebaskets. During parades in financial districts, people would traditionally toss these tapes out of windows, creating the confetti effect now associated with celebratory events. I found an antique tool that resembles a fork. It has sharp points and measures about 23 centimeters from top to bottom and 7 centimeters across the head. Does anyone know what this tool might be used for? This tool is a vintage icebreaker or ice chipper, specifically the Gilchrist No. 50 model. Designed in the early 1900s, it was used for breaking and chipping large blocks of ice. At a time when ice was delivered in blocks for home ice boxes or bars, tools like these were essential for creating smaller, usable pieces. Bartenders and homeowners relied on it to separate frozen chunks or shape ice for drinks. Vintage Gilchrist ice chippers are still occasionally used today, as they remain functional despite their age. Interestingly, the brand Acopa continues to produce ice chippers with a similar design, as this style has proven to be reliable and effective for handling ice. I found an object that seems to be a clock or some kind of timing device. It appears that some internal components might be missing. Below the clock face, there's what looks like a winder, but there are no visible letters or numbers on any part of it. The object measures 12 centimeters across the front and has a depth of 6 centimeters. Does anyone know what this might be? This device is a night watchman's clock, a tool used historically by security personnel to log their patrols and ensure they check specific locations on schedule. Inside the clock, there's a paper tape connected to the mechanism that advances with time. As the watchmen patrolled the facility, they would locate keys attached to chains on the walls at designated checkpoints. Inserting and turning the key would punch or mark the paper tape, recording the exact time and location visited. This system provided a clear record of the watchmen's rounds and assured their presence at each checkpoint. The use of watchmen's clocks began in the late 19th century and became widespread in the early 20th century as a reliable method to monitor security patrols in factories, warehouses, and large facilities. Over time, these clocks were gradually replaced by electronic systems, which use keypads, barcodes, or even digital apps for logging patrols. I found a piece of furniture with a tap and a pump handle, but it's a bit of a mystery. The handle and tap on top don't connect to the cupboard below, and the handle doesn't seem to move or open anything. This item was found at a local auction. It's about 1.5 meters tall and 30 centimeters deep, with a shelf inside the cupboard in the middle. Does anyone know what this might be used for? This piece of furniture is a Breton cider pump, a type of ornamental cider dispenser that originated in Brittany, France in the late 19th century. These cider pumps were often made from cherry or birch wood and had a functional brass tap and pump handle. When operated, the handle drew liquid from a reservoir through a tube to the brass tap, allowing cider to be dispensed easily. By the mid-20th century, as modern refrigeration and other serving methods became commonplace, cider pumps became collectibles, prized for their craftsmanship and historic charm, representing traditional French heritage. I found a unique metal object about 23 centimeters long that belonged to my grandfather, who was born in 1925. The object is solid and has a pointed end with the decorative bands along the shaft. The top of the piece has a design that resembles a crown. Does anyone know what this might be or what it might have been used for? This item appears to be an antique metal pointer or teaching tool from the early to mid-20th century. Similar items were used by teachers to point to information on chalkboards or maps. These pointers were typically made from metal, wood, or sometimes even ivory. The decorative bands along the shaft and the crown-like design at the top suggest that it may have been intended for a prestigious school or even used ceremonially, giving it a slightly more ornamental appearance than a standard pointer. I found a heavy tool in the desk of a chemical engineer. Everything on it screws in and out, except for a rotating arm that slides freely in and out. Does anyone know what this might be or what it could be used for? The object you found is a bicycle chain tool, a small screw press specifically designed for working with bicycle chains. This tool allows for adjustments such as repairing, shortening, or lengthening the chain. To use it, you need to align the chain link with the tool's pressing pin. By turning the screw, the pin in the chain link is gradually pushed out, allowing the link to detach. Once the necessary adjustments are made, the chain can be reassembled by pressing the pin back into place. I found an unusual item in the basement of the physics department. The center disc is made of glass, and there's a blue fabric-like material on it. Does anyone know what this might be or what it could have been used for? The device you found is probably an electrostatic generator, a machine designed to produce static electricity through the triboelectric effect. Electrostatic generators, such as the Wimshurst or Benetti machines, were invented in the 18th century and became widely used in physics laboratories and educational establishments throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries. The triboelectric effect, which occurs when certain materials rub against each other to generate an electrical charge, is the principle behind these machines. In this particular device, the glass disc and blue fabric create friction generating a static charge. This charge is then collected in various parts of the machine, often in capacitors or Leyden jars, to produce a visible spark or to carry out experiments. We got this tool as a donation at the museum, but we don't know what it is. It has a metal head with 2 prongs and a wooden handle. Does anyone know what it is? The tool you found is probably a picaroon or hookaroon. Historically, these tools were used in lumberyards and sawmills to move logs and timber. Workers used them to pull, push, and reposition heavy logs with greater ease and precision. The pointed, curved end of the metal head gripped the wood, allowing workers to maneuver logs with minimal effort. Picaroons and hookaroons date back to the 19th century and were essential tools in North American and European lumberyards. Some older models, such as the one you found, may have been custom-made by blacksmiths for specific tasks, resulting in slightly different designs. What is this small metal tool with evenly sized prongs marked with even numbers? We bought it at a beach thrift store, and it looks like it might be made of brass. Could it be some kind of sizer? The item you found is a set of gold testing needles. The tips of each needle are made from gold of a specific carat, usually ranging from 8 to 24 carats. This allows jewelers and appraisers to determine the purity of an unknown gold sample by comparing its color and reaction to acid against the known standards on these needles. The testing process involves using a black stone along with acid solutions of varying concentrations. The jeweler makes a small mark of the sample gold on the stone next to marks from the testing needles. Each mark is then tested with an acid corresponding to a specific carat level. Different acids are used for each carat range. If the acid dissolves the mark, the sample has a lower purity than the acid applied. If the mark remains intact, the sample matches or exceeds the carat level indicated by the needle. I found a badge that has been passed through several generations in my family. It doesn't have any additional labels or markings. It is from Yugoslavia, possibly from the World War II era. It is glued inside a box with no pin on the back and measures around 10 centimeters. Does anyone know more about its history? The badge appears to depict the Sombor coat of arms, first officially designed in 1749. The design features a fortress with a gate and central tower, guard boxes, a flag, a crescent, and other heraldic elements. Based on its condition and craftsmanship, the badge likely dates to the late 19th or early 20th century. Such badges were often created for various purposes, including civic awards, uniform decorations, or ornamental accessories, such as walking stick embellishments. The visible wear suggests frequent handling or cleaning, indicating it was a prized possession. I found a small waterproof case containing 5 tubes, each about 4.5 centimeters long and 3 millimeters in diameter. The tubes are half filled with an unknown substance and seem to be cushioned by foam at the bottom of the case, likely to protect them. The case was discovered in a collapsed old stone wall in France, which was estimated to be around 100 years old. Does anyone know what these tubes might be or their purpose? The small tubes you found are likely non-electric blasting caps used as detonators for explosives. These closely resemble the non-electric blasting caps commonly used in the mid-20th century, including the friction fuses that were prevalent during that time. They typically contain an ignition charge made from a mixture of lead styphnate and barium chromate, which matches the yellow powder you described. The waterproof and shock-resistant container further supports this identification, as such features were essential for safely storing detonators in challenging environments. These devices were widely used during World War II and in the years that followed for construction, demolition, and military purposes. I found a strange iron pot inside the fireplace of the apartment I'm renting in northern Italy. It seems quite old, probably over 20 years, and looks like it's made of iron. Does anyone know what it's used for? The pot you found is likely a bed warmer or a chestnut roaster, 2 common household items in Italy and across Europe in past centuries. Bed warmers were used to heat up cold sheets before sleeping, especially during winter months when homes lacked central heating. Hot coals or embers were placed inside the container, the lid was securely closed, and the pot was run over or placed between the sheets to make the bed warm and cozy. This type of warmer was particularly popular in northern Italy and colder regions of Europe until the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Alternatively, the pot could be a chestnut roaster, which was designed to roast chestnuts directly in the fireplace. These roasters often had perforated lids to allow heat to circulate evenly, while the handle made it safe to turn or shake the chestnuts over the fire. Chestnut roasting remains a beloved tradition in Italy, especially in the northern regions, where roasted chestnuts are still a popular seasonal treat. I found a shallow tub in the spa area of a fancy European hotel with 2 separate sides. When a button is pressed, one side lights up red and dispenses hot water for about 30 seconds, followed by the other side lighting up blue with cold water. The tub is about 3 meters long and 1.2 meters wide. Does anyone know what this is used for? The tub you found is likely designed for contrast bath therapy, a practice commonly referred to as Wechselbad in Germany. It involves immersing your feet alternately in warm and cold water, starting with the warm water for a short time before quickly switching to the cold side. This process is typically repeated a few times and is believed to stimulate blood circulation, though the scientific evidence for its benefits is still debated. I found a tool in the kitchen of a late relative. It's about 45 centimeters long and has a heavy, solid metal puck at one end connected to a wooden handle by a metal rod. Does anyone know what this is and what it might be used for? The tool you've found is a handheld salamander, a traditional kitchen implement used for browning, caramelizing, or melting the surface of food. The metal puck is heated over an open flame or in hot coals until it becomes extremely hot, and then it's held close to the surface of dishes like crème brûlée, gratins, or French onion soup to achieve that perfect golden crust or melted cheese layer. Handheld salamanders have a long history in culinary arts and were especially popular in the 18th and 19th centuries, before modern broilers or kitchen torches became commonplace. They were a staple in French kitchens where they were used to prepare classic dishes requiring precise caramelization or browning. In the last video, I asked you to guess what the clay object with several holes might be. Many of you had some great ideas, and quite a few of you were correct. It's actually an oil lamp. Thank you to everyone who joined in and shared their guesses. A special congratulations to John's Nook for being the first to identify it correctly. All right, it's time for another mystery item. Take a look at this one. It's a vintage tool with a wooden handle and a metal scoop attached to a mechanism. What do you think it could be used for? Leave your guesses in the comments below, and I'll reveal the answer in the next video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Your support motivates me to create more videos. See you next time.